Well, um, I don't usually get surprised and tricked very easily, you know. I'm very curious, but I really was surprised and really honored. You know, I'd worked on the senior center, as a policymaker my entire term, and having been to over 17 senior centers in North Carolina in my health work, I really felt like people who had paid in advance through taxes, through fees, through spending money here, spending time here, really deserved a place that was really special for them, that they could engage in day and night, and that other people could enjoy it as well. So to be there, to know that before I retired my seat, that I would get to be part of the council that unveiled and opened the senior center is something that I'll never forget. And it's hard to explain what it felt like, because I felt like the older adults in Apex really truly deserved it. Um, I'd taken a tour with the council a few days before the opening, and I just thought, oh, this is great. And one of the things I wanted was a resource room, which is I've been a person who sat in those resource rooms throughout the state, but still never thought there'd be. I never talked about a lounge. I think the older adults do the charrette where we learn what they wanted and what we could afford to put in the senior center, that we would have things, but I never imagined having a lounge that bore my name, something that is just, I don't know, it's just really hard to describe, and I'm usually not someone who's lost for words, but the point was really not to focus on myself, but really to focus on other folks. Now, I did turn, I'll just say I turned the age appropriate to use the center the next month. So that was really exciting to do that, not be able to just go in there and say, hey, can I come and hang out? But it's really hard. The emotion that you saw, the the surprise, all that was, to look back at it, I just smile and laugh when I see it now, because they kept that from me. And I saw other elected officials, other levels like congressional members and stuff there. And I was thinking, and state representatives, I'm like, y'all are busy. What is going on here? But many of them said they wanted to see the center, but they also wanted to see my face when I was, honored in a way that I never could imagine. It still feels very new to me when I walk in, when I go in there. It's just still hard to imagine that people thought that much of me and that much of the efforts that I helped to lead, that many people were involved in, because it wouldn't have been possible by myself. So yeah, that's a special moment, and it's a special place, and I hope many, many people get to experience it in Apex and folks from nearby. Wow, it's really hard to share and important. I have one memory. If I focus on the 8 years where I served in elected leadership, so I think about a theme of more access. So I could start with the fact that I thought it was important to have meetings that were more consistent with open meetings law. So that means that, first of all, the public should have more access to people making decisions for their daily lives. So, having minutes up after something's already happened, and also meaning that someone has to go somewhere and find the minutes, whether it's online or you ask for a written copy, means that you read or that you engage online. And so that's not accessible to everyone. That assumes that people don't have visual impairments, or it assumes that they want to be on the internet reading or going to get copies from physically from the town hall. So that's not what we want to do. We want to provide people with more and more access. And so, the goal was moving from the first step to audio tapes, for people to be able to hear the audio tapes, to really live, whether it's passive or active engagement. And so I'm just really proud that we increased transparency around that, particularly because you get to hear, besides public forum, there are people who tend to engage in public comments. where things are important to them, especially during the time where, the pandemic began and we couldn't engage the way we wanted to. I was really proud of the way the town stepped up and had other ways for people to share their thoughts on, on certain items. So that's what I would say, a theme of access. So speaking of hearing from people, we heard that, folks wanted more accessibility, more programming for youth who had special needs. And also, before I was on the council, youth were making their voices heard around, the skate park. And so, I was on the council and went to see that grand opening, and that was amazing. And, I've never really skateboarded, but I spent a lot of time just watching youth because, it's really fun to see people engaging in the community. Um, Another thing with access, I'd say, would be that, not just the senior center, but that the community center actually had, more programs for example, if children like touch a truck, if there were, folks who their children needed to have more access to have experience in a different way, even like the Easter egg hunt, just really making sure that each and every person, as much as possible, our goal would be for them to interact in their own community. Um, so that's what I guess I would say around the theme. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot. That's a big question to answer. So I'll start with the Think Apex, since it's got Apex in the name. It started out as an idea I had to like people think about engaging in, small businesses. So if you think about purchasing flowers, or you're thinking about having an event, or you want to go shopping for yourself, like think Apex first. Don't go to Cary, don't go to Durham, think Apex. And so that's where it started, but it really grew into, watching people, think about that and be excited about their name being on a magnet, and but also thinking about I wanted to honor people in Apex who are just living their daily lives, but don't necessarily get honored for it. And that's not the purpose. And most people are not getting honored because that was their goal. But I wanted to be very intentional about, always saying that I find in Apex that people are their brother and sister's keepers. And I wanted people to pay attention to what their brother and sister were doing. And so having the Think Apex Awards is one of the most fun things that I get to still do. And a constituent said to me, I wish we could start every meeting out like this. This is an incredible thing and heartwarming. And this person actually ended up getting an award at some point too. And so just wanted to say, to me, Apex is, the Think Apex is part of home to me. So the awards and then the day of service. I mean, I've seen where day of service slots have filled up, and I think my husband is kind of glad he doesn't have to be my chauffeur for the day. But I try to hit every single thing, and it's hard to leave because it's just indescribable to see people in your community really taking a full Saturday to do something for someone else. That may trickle down to themselves too, because we all are one and we can all enjoy the community together. The other thing I'll say is that having chaired personnel for much of my time there, but being on personnel the entire time, I think it's important to deliver excellent service. You have to have staff who feel supported, not just who I think or we think or people think, oh, they're supportive. It's what people feel. And so part of that is compensation and benefits. So it was really my pleasure, and something I really miss is serving on and having initiatives, brought forward, or things that I learned about in my advocacy work to help support the town. I've had people who said I was able to use my paid parental leave. I've had people say that I was actually able to add my children on my health insurance plan because you all increased, the percentage. So we know that it's important to invest in the people who make sure that every day We have excellent service and excellent experience living in this town. Wow, I think Apex has so much potential, and I don't think that I know it. And it's people even outside Apex that know that because that's why we continue to be noticed. For me, it's always important to talk to, engage with, and learn from people who have different perspectives in mind, different experiences in mind. And so the answer is I would love to see Apex get more and more diverse. It's any area will tell you that their community is richer because people have different ages, socioeconomic status, work status, just how they view the world be different. People have disabilities. People are living with, having issues of healthcare issues that they're dealing with right now, and they may need extra help. And so we know, while, Apex is considered an affluent area, that poverty is here. And poverty tends to be hidden at times in areas like ours. But what I do know is that through different social media platforms, through different events, people step up when people have needs. People are dropping things off on people's porches, and they're, creating different nonprofits or other, groups, or, to really attack the needs that people have. And so I just think that the model is already here, from our the festivals and the events, and the money that's oftentimes much of that money is then put right back into the community. And so one of the things I'd like to see and I've worked on is affordable housing. So right now well, when I was on the council, I'll speak to that. There were more single family products, and the price point was getting higher and higher. And I understand that Apex's land is expensive. But I do think, having people from the builder community, from, the realtor type community, we had young people to more seasoned, experienced people, people who really, from faith leaders who all working on, issues around poverty or people having a tough time, pulling that together through the very first, roundtable discussion, leading us to the incredible task force, getting us to policies to attack, the inequities and the things that people are dealing with. And so I do believe that more and more that through our initiatives, people will be able to age in place and stay in their homes. That people will be able to purchase new homes. People will be able to purchase, to rent if that's what they choose, but really be able to, I guess one of the things I want to say too is that some of our young people that, are doing a great job right now in Apex and, may want to come back and live, we want to make sure that our future can also come back and live in Apex and work in Apex and engage and play and, whatever practice or faith or whatever it is they want to do in Apex. We would want that ability, whether they want to come back or not. We want that. We also want people to be able to, like I said, age in place and be able to stay here. We want to have new development without it negatively impacting the people who've been here all along. And we need to just continue to listen and figure out how we can problem solve, be solution focused to not just attract people to Apex, but also keep them here.